a carrot involved. And that carrot is an incentive for any investor who sells his or her apartment between now and October 30th of 2016. That investor will get a refund of sublet fees up to an amount that is equal to 6 months of maintenance. So if you are thinking about it, if you are an investor and you're thinking about it, this is the appropriate time to think about selling, because you're going to get your sublet fees back. So the board, all in all, has put together this package of carrot, stick, which we hope will work, and
we will reassess it if it does not.
we keep reassessing it. We've been reassessing it for years. Yeah.
My name is Linda DiMartino. I live on the 14th floor. Is there a limitation on how often you can make these incremental increases? Or if the board decides it's necessary, you're going to go from 13 to 18%? How often can you do these incremental changes?
It's a board
It's a board decision.
Could be every month if you thought it was necessary.
If we thought, yeah.
Okay.
But don't
remember
forget,
that
the
it is-
board represents everybody.
That's the
Right.
truth.
And
So,
so,
you might say, well, if you thought about it as an oligarchic government that comes in from outside, today it's 18, tomorrow it'll be 25, 35,
Right.
you want it all. But unfortunately, we has met the enemy and they is us, so we don't gain or lose any.
Right, I
more than
understand. I
anybody.
didn't know if there was something in the bylaws that there was a set time.
The problem I see is for the condition of co-op. Co-op
I'm sorry,
are
can't
very
hear you.
difficult to finance in any place to go. Co-op is because they see the whole entire building or whatever.
Mhm.
So maybe it's time that we consider to go in condominium. Because to put this kind of restraint
I'm sorry,
and
but
more
that is
money,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do with your apartment in the future or not in the future, I think about, okay, this is something I get for my future. What about if I want to go to live in Pennsylvania and rent my apartment? I had to think about the fee because it's not convenient at this moment. So I've seen the property, the owner of the property, no matter what. If you make it more easy for investor or no investor, the thing move and get. First of all, I don't understand why we should pay people $100 right now because they rent an apartment to the board. I think we have enough money that we take for any place to maintain the board the way it is. So this is like getting more and more and more. Suddenly, I don't feel like I want to live here anymore. If I had to think in the future, I am not an investor, but property change, your needs are changed. And the use of the property is such a right here in the United States of America. We cannot try to put
I have to
more
agree with you.
in-
I have
okay,
to, no, let me finish this. I hate to, I understand what you're saying, and I can only agree with you that if your needs are such, or your desires are such, that the co-op format is no longer the format you need and you prefer a condo format, all I can say to you is that although we value your shareholdership, that is absolutely your choice. And that's everybody's choice who came here, who decided to go to a co-op rather than a condo. We all know that there are differences and what those differences are. And if one format favors you more than another, well, God bless us all, there isn't a thing that's going to keep us from doing that. So if perhaps you take an apartment that you have now and it's selling at a good price and you sell it, and you move to a condo which suits you better for the future, that is your choice. Unfortunately, we cannot shilly-shally between condo and co-op format. It's not even really an option. It's not that it could not possibly ever happen, but it's not something that we're about to consider seriously
well,
now.
it really is something that could not happen. In order to do that, you would need 100% of the shareholders to agree.
Wow.
It seems to me that right now, don't forget, 46% of you are treating it as a co-op and are living here and have chosen to live here, have chosen to buy in a co-op. And so I think it would be very, very difficult to convince those 46% to give up the co-op and go to a condominium.
Oh, so they'd have to convert all the debt. It couldn't.
Everything, you know, it's
Yeah,
really,
you
it's
have-
not.
the debt would all go on to the shareholders, you'd have to pay off the mortgage. Also, you should remember, you really should remember, this board has been very vigilant, extremely vigilant over the years about who gets to buy in this building. We have only, I think in the last 25, 28 years we've been a co-op, I think we've only been 2 foreclosures that I remember.
Wow.
Okay? Condominiums during the downfall in 2006, 7, and 8 in this city, there were foreclosures right and left. Co-ops did not see foreclosures because the co-op boards had been so vigilant about who they were letting in. And that really is a terrific advantage, because if you are in a condominium and people aren't paying their common charges, you've got to ante up to pay the common charges. And the co-op and the condominium does not have a lien the way a co-op does. The co-op comes first when it comes to common charges. So for all those reasons, a lot of people have chosen to live in a co-op versus a condo. And so I think I understand, I tell you, I go to annual meetings all over the place where at least one person stands up and says, we ought to go condo, I want to be able to rent my apartment. And you know what, most of the other people in the room say, we bought in a co-op, we don't want to buy in a condo. So I just would point that out to you.
Let Mary Frances, please, let Mary Frances finish her one thing.
Well,
You keep
No,
on
but this is
interrupting.
exactly what she was talking about.
Yes.
Well, I make a suggestion. I mean, I understand the 46% who cannot refinance. But if you go to many other buildings who are also co-ops, they can't refinance. What I would like to make a constructive suggestion. Why don't you speak to your friend in Chase
Yeah.
and tell him, set for me a line of credit, if we get to 51% owner occupied, that you have a line of credit promised to me, approved by the board, rather than a pipe dream. Well, if you become 51, I'm going to have the line for you. Then when you become 51, sorry, we can't. Now it's 55. Now it's 65. I do not trust Chase. I'm a banker. I do not trust bankers without giving you a written offer stating that if this building becomes 51%, then automatically there'll be a line of credit for $50 million, and under that, every borrower here can refinance. Don't just give me pipe dreams. If it's, because I have seen many of those so-called dreams. When you get to that level, they change their mind. So please get that letter and give it to us.
Okay, one of the things that you should know is, number one, most people in co-ops, certainly in co-ops that I manage, can refinance without any issues whatsoever, because the investor level is below 50%, and usually well below. Most people in co-ops do not have a problem these days refinancing their mortgage. We are so busy with mortgage refinances like crazy. One of the things the board did consider and rejected, and I think properly so, we did consider the idea that we might set up a fund to provide mortgages or some kind of mortgage support. But the board decided that really was not within the province of the board, and that there really was not something the board should do. And I think that was a good decision. But we did, just to show you, we looked at the whole
Get
problem.
the line of credit. Don't talk so much. Get the line of credit.
Who's going to sign for that?
I'm
Just
just
one moment.
curious,
The
what
fact of the
bank are you
matter
with?
is, I do have a lot of contacts in Chase, just because I work there and have a lot of brokers who are my friends who are involved in that. The banks want this. It's not a question of forcing them to give us credit. Banks are in the business of giving credit, as you well know. So the fact of the matter is that they're not going to shift if they can. They have a problem with this Fannie Mae thing. There are a lot of banks, and I didn't want to go into this, but there are a lot of banks who are not really involved in the Fannie Mae thing so much. They will give you a line of credit based on your personal credit worthiness. They're not so interested in, the reason that they care about the Fannie Mae stuff is that they put all the mortgages together and they securitize them. And if they can't do that, if it's not Fannie Mae. A lot of banks don't securitize their mortgages, they hold them. And they're not that interested. This is more than you care to know, as far as I can, because it's almost more than I care to say. And that's hard, because I know. But go ahead,
Well, no,
please
the
finish that.
last piece is simply that if we don't get below 50% by November 1st of next year, then the incentive will continue, but at a lesser amount. But I'm thinking very strongly, I mean, I can't imagine that this incentive is not going to bring us down below in these actions that we've taken. I think
In what time frame?
hopefully by next, well, I'm hoping it's going to be 6 to 8 months. I mean, it would be nice if we could
Paige and then
be,
Nancy. No, Nancy, Paige, you've already spoken, Nancy hasn't. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I agree with what Vivian said about that young people coming into the building and have their parents co-signing for them for a mortgage is a good thing to get young people who are buying in the building. But what I don't agree with is young people who are renters who are getting their parents to co-sign the lease for them to be a subletter and live in the building. People who are 20 years old, 22 years old, who are 5 people in the elevator on their cell phones, people in their pajamas in the lobby, people drunk walking into level D the other day scaring people.
Are you sure they were renters?
Yes. Yeah, this was a boyfriend of a girl who just moved in, and he said to me that he's going to come into this level from now on because it's very convenient for him. So he's not even going to bother to go past the doorman. He's just going to go into level D, drunk and smelling, and me and the other elderly woman who were in the elevator with him were